Hello, my name is Fred. I've got several hundred hours in this game. I think I know what I'm doing by this point. I'm going to do a quick breakdown of the patch notes, or the dev diary regarding the upcoming changes in 1.8 Husky in regards to the resistance and occupation system. Currently, the way it works is that there is a static, or a percentile modifier that goes up as you gain quote-unquote resistance, just a number basically, which is reduced by garrisoning troops with military police or otherwise in the state in which the resistance is going up. If you have too high resistance, there's a high chance of something getting sabotaged every month or every day or week. I don't know when it actually ticks, but either way, basically it just ruins your stuff. You have to repair it. That's how it works. Very simple to deal with, very simple to fix, and very boring. However, in 1.8, that's all going to change. So, looking at the patch notes here, posted by your boy Bobby, basically the way it's going to work is, you can see here the new interface, by the way, which compared to the old, you can see on the bottom left here, sort of on your screen. The new interface has a percentile modifier that goes up still, but it also has the thing below that. You see the blue flag? That is compliance. And the way it works basically is that compliance increases over time as you control the state, and you can increase it by directing policy in such a way that you focus on increasing it. Resistance also increases, and you can see some modifiers here. Controller is at peace, low stability, martial law, compliance. So you can see compliance will slowly tick up and then reduce the maximum resistance. Now, resistance doesn't just... Here you can see compliance, by the way. Resistance doesn't just break your factories and your infrastructure anymore. They have... it has far more dramatic effects that it can actually cause. And we'll look at those in a bit. So, I mentioned how you stop resistance in the game as it is right now. You still do the same thing. You set up garrisons to guard states, but no longer is it just like placing a band-aid on it and then letting it stay there. Now, your garrisons will actually start suffering attrition, and they will actually start suffering strength damages to manpower and equipment as a result of partisan actions, which basically gives the partisans a sort of dynamic and more real feeling because they're actually a threat to your military, which is your main method of interacting with the mechanics of this game. Your main method of winning is through your military, and now the partisans can actually hurt you, where it hurts, that is very interesting, and actually sort of adequately, in my opinion, models, or at least represents, the way partisan action affected, for example, the Soviet Union during the war, which was massive. The way the partisans not only broke German supply lines here and there and messed with them in that way, but they also straight up attacked German soldiers. And you could see some similar actions going on in France and in Norway to a lesser extent and in Yugoslavia. Now, however, there is something really, really cool here that can happen, and that is, if the resistance gets too high, something happens to the states that your soldiers are in that basically causes permanent or consistent attrition, as well as reduces their movement, which is really cool, but which is also sort of what happened in the Soviet Union. However, even further than that, too high resistance with outside help often can lead to a straight-up uprising. This is maybe comparable to what happened in Warsaw in Poland, the Warsaw Uprising, where people take up arms and actually start a sort of civil war. These soldiers will be event spawned, they're going to be low quality, and they're also going to rejoin the army of the occupied nation, if the nation still exists, or recreate the nation on the map. You can see here colony states will be removed as a concept. So, for example, this here stuff here is no longer technically a colony state. I believe this is an occupied state. I'm guessing it's going to have high compliance so that the United Kingdom doesn't immediately break into civil war, and France, of course. Or some other sort of solution. I'm assuming they've thought of that. But yeah, this is actually really cool because it removes the, you know, boring, just spend political power to suppress partisans system and creates a dynamic system that actually sort of gives some credence to the massive efforts of partisans of the war, which I thought was severely lacking in the current iteration of the game. Highest on my wishlist for the new patch, or the new expansion that's upcoming, were espionage features and partisan action, as part of a larger diplomatic overhaul, in my opinion, which the game needs. Or in my opinion, that the game needs. Now, the way you deal with this, these guys, these partisans, you know, you deal with them either through the military, like I said, or you can use occupation laws, as you can already do in the game, where you can, you know, have harsh or like strict or lenient occupation laws. That system is getting expanded upon in the new patch, 1.8 Husky, and they're adding a bunch of new laws, which you can see on your screen right now. For example, local autonomy, all the way to forced labor. There's also going to be ideology-specific laws, which aren't on, or in the dev diary, but I found them in some questions that oh my god, Bobby, almost said ya boy Bobby, like, all at once, but Bobby answered further down into the forums. And those ideology-specific laws are: democracies will get autonomous occupation, which will focus on generating compliance at the cost of initially high resistance. So you start with harsher circumstances, but you quickly, like faster, get to the point where you no longer need to garrison that region. Fascists will get brutally oppressive occupation, which will focus on suppressing resistance at high material cost, which might be reflected in consumer goods or political power or something. While communists will get liberate workers, which gives you the maximum amount of states from the factories from the state at a cost of increased resistance. So you might have more production from a state that you've just liberated or taken over, but in the long term, those factories are going to get blown up. Now, I really like these changes because it's probably going to change the way the game is played by a lot of the majors, and going to give the minors a new way of interacting with the major nations. The way it's going to change the major strategy is that it's going to sort of disincentivize world conquest in the way that we see often, where people just occupy all territories, because puppeting is inarguably, I think, to most people, less appealing. Now with this, you have an actual incentive to puppet. As the German Reich, you have an incentive to set up Reichskommissariats, and you will no longer as often see, for example, Serbia controlling the entire world. Which I think is a welcome change, at least I think so as a non-Serb. Now, at the end of the dev diary, they mention something which I think is quite intriguing. It might be a veiled hint towards the next dev diary, or I might be grasping at straws, but it does say, that's all for this week. Next week we'll update the good people of these forums on what is going on with France, because France is getting a new focus tree rework. Secrets and things hidden will be revealed. The focus on France, the focus on partisans, and secrets and things hidden will be revealed makes me think we are in for a covert operations mechanics focused expansion. So I'm thinking espionage, I'm thinking, you know, Alan Turing, I'm thinking the Enigma machine, I'm thinking overhaul of encryption and decryption, I'm thinking overhaul of, like, intelligence in general. I'm very, very excited if that is the case, because that's been high on my wish list for a long time for this game. I can't wait to see, for example, sabotage actions undertaken by commandos, for example, that you could send out. That'd be cool. For example, like the British commandos, which were sent to the Netherlands, France, and Norway, for example, as well as partisan efforts in Eastern Europe, Yugoslavia, Poland, Soviet Union, etc. I'm extremely excited. By the way, that was a very, very quick breakdown of what was to be found in the dev diary. I was asked to make this by people, or I asked the people in the Discord, my community Discord if they would like to see this, and they said yes. So, thank them for me making this. If you enjoyed it, if you don't, click the Discord link in the description and go there and yell at them for putting me through this, or putting you through this. Either way, thank you so much for watching. You can find me on social media in the description down below. As mentioned before, you can find the dev diary linked in the description down below as well. So yeah, go there, check my Twitter out, check my Twitch out, check my Patreon out if you are or feel so inclined to support me financially, and check the Discord out. Most important of all. That's about it. So, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Goodbye.